Hello, welcome to the next video in my series. This one is number 10, portfolio construction. So what do I do these videos? Uncertainty creates anxiety. Understanding helps create confidence. The future will always be uncertain. Your financial decisions don't have to be. Now, for over 30 years, I've seen the same questions come up over and over again. Will my money last? What if the market crashes? Am I making the right decisions? How do I stay calm when everyone else is panicking? And many more, all to do with uncertainty. My videos are to help answer these questions for you. Why do some investors get it wrong? It's not because they're unintelligent. It's not because it is because they're human. When everyone is excited, it's hard not to get excited too. When everyone is panicking, it's hard not to panic. We've all done it. Today's question is, what is the best investment? The answer is, there isn't one. Investments are like sporting teams. They do not win every year. What investments do I need to, a better question is, what investments do I need to achieve my goals? Not just one investment, but a whole portfolio. Think of an investment portfolio as a sporting team, and the investments are the players. You're the coach and you're putting a team together. Would you start by asking, you would start by asking, what positions do I need to fill? Who are the best players for these positions? Now, a good goalkeeper saves a lot of goals, but you wouldn't want 11 of them. That would make no sense. They might be the 11 best goalkeepers in the world, but still, they're going to get beaten. You want a balanced team that covers all the different skills, different jobs, and work together, and that makes a stronger team. Investment portfolio works the same way. Different investments have different jobs. There isn't any one best investment. It's how the investments work together that matters. So let's have a look at what jobs need doing in an investment portfolio. Well, you want to have some liquidity, so there's some money ready when you need it. You want to have reliable income. You want to get some growth so that it builds your wealth and keeps pace with inflation. And you want some diversification to spread the risk and reduce risk. So let's meet the players. Each of these players has different strengths and weaknesses. For example, cash, it's safe, it's liquid. Well, when I say safe, it's the safest one. Money's available when you need it, but not such a good return in the long term. Then you have fixed interest, which provides income, stability, diversification. One form of fixed interest is government bonds, is where the investor lends money to the government, then the government pays the interest regularly and pays money back at the end of the term. Corporate bonds, similar sort of thing, just with companies instead of the government. And to give you an idea, could be any one of these well-known bond issuers. Another type of investment, private credit, gives you income, diversification, and a higher income, but it doesn't come for free. There are additional risks to understand, but once you understand the risks, you can plan for them. And private credit is for things like loans to developers, lending to mums and dads for houses, lending for cars, medical practices, small, medium banks. There's a lot of diversification within these. This is private credit, something that's getting a lot of media press at the moment, and there's a review being done by ASIC or APRA or someone into private credit, because it's they're worried about what's happening here in the US might happen here because it's crazy over there. But the ones we use, we do a lot of research to make sure that they're not those crazy ones. Hybrids pay income and give you diversification. And hybrids is like a combination of equity and debt. Usually what happens is it's shares and that pay a fixed rate of return. And the biggest issuer is the big four banks. Thing to know about these is there are risks, and if a bank went broke, the depositors get their money back first. Then there's debt, hybrids, and finally the shares. So you don't stand as much money, don't stand as much chance getting your money back as depositors if one of those big four banks went broke. Okay, now Australian shares, they provide income, growth, and diversification. And liquidity, but sometimes it's not a good time to sell. If the shares are up, yeah, they're very liquid, you can sell them quickly, but if the shares are down, you probably don't want to sell them. So they're good for growth, attractive income, diversification, and I've got that there to show you the sort of companies that you can invest in. It covers different areas in the economy: consumers, financials, like banks, healthcare, resources, energy, infrastructure. Then there's global shares, you get some growth from them, diversification, liquidity, same as Australian shares. Sometimes it's good to sell them, sometimes it's not to sell them, but you can always sell them pretty quick. And this just gives you a wider view to the rest of the world. Exposure, some growth and diversification. Then you've got real estate. Real estate provides income, growth, diversification. To give you an idea, you might have heard of Stockland, Mirvac, Goodman, Vicinity Centres, shopping, General Property Trust, big well-known names. And there's infrastructure, which is good for income, growth, and diversification. And infrastructure is things like roads, all those tolls we just love paying when we go on the road, and the parking fees in airports, utilities, energy infrastructure. They're things that have usually got pretty reliable income coming in. Right, so now we have our players. Now let's meet the team or the portfolio. There we go. Cash, fixed interest, credit, all of those into one portfolio. And here's what they do. Cash, safety and liquidity, fixed interest, private credit, hybrids give you income and they're defensive, growth and income from Australian shares, international shares, REITs, which is the real estate, and infrastructure. Okay, but how do you buy them? There's too many to buy individually, and you get more diversification with funds. And I like exchange traded funds. Think of an exchange traded fund as a container, and inside the container might be Australian shares, international shares, bonds, property, infrastructure, and many other types of investments. And with exchange traded funds, there's two main types. There's actively managed and index. Now the actively managed, we have gurus trying to predict what investment to buy. Now gurus don't always get it right, and this increases uncertainty. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, which means you get some extra ups and downs that you probably don't really need. Index funds. Okay, what is an index? ASX 20, let's say, is an index, and that's just the 20 biggest companies on the Australian Stock Exchange. That's what the ASX stands for. And like this, you probably know a few of them. Now there's many types of indexes, and here's some varieties here. 20 largest companies. So what this means, this index fund is one, all they can invest in is that. And this one here is all they can invest in is that. All they can invest in is the 100 biggest companies in the world. And then there's REIT, real estate trusts, investment trusts, property index, government bonds. So there's lots of different types of indexes. So the portfolio construction is putting together the right investments as a group to deliver the objectives and what we want to achieve in this moment in time, today, for tomorrow. Now, the reason I make that point is, this can change. What we want to use can change from day to day, not usually day to day, but week to week or month to month. And we're putting it together for tomorrow. Portfolio construction, when we're putting together a portfolio, take into account buckets, diversification, value, risk and reward, and reliable income. And you end up with this. Which looks, when you break it down into the investments, you can see you've got cash, a lot of different investment funds, which is a lot of diversification, and each one of these has a lot of diversification. So substitutions, just like a team, sometimes players are rested, injured, or have to go off. We don't use all the investments all the time. Sometimes it's not a good time to have them. And so what happens is, out of those lists of investments we use, some are substituted out and some are in. And these portfolio percentages can change as well from time to time, depending on value of markets and interest rates, all that sort of stuff. So today's question was, what is the best investment? The answer is, there is no answer to that question. The answer is a properly crafted portfolio of investments that work together well as a team and deliver what you want. Reduce risk, reliable income, liquidity for when you need some money, as much stability as possible, a better chance of a good return, and diversification. Successful investing isn't about predicting the future. It's about making sensible decisions when nobody knows what will happen next. Championship teams are made of players who work well together. Investment portfolios work the same way. They're built by putting the right investments together. I won't ask you to believe this because I say so. I encourage you to test it for yourself, then decide whether it makes sense for you. Would you like to know more? Well, you can check out my website, give me a call, or see my new YouTube channel for more videos. And general advice warning, this is the simple Gavinized version. This presentation is for educational purposes only. The information is reasonably accurate. Some poetic license has been taken to a small degree for explanation purposes, to make it easier to understand. But most importantly, get advice from an expert before doing anything. And the next one is the official version. If you want to read that, you can pause the video there and read it. Otherwise, I'm moving on. And remember, uncertainty creates anxiety. Understanding creates confidence. Thank you. Have a great day.